Today I'm going to talk to you about my new Swag bandsaw table, portable bandsaw table, and this I'm using a Harbor Freight Brower bandsaw. I'm going to tell you about it and the table and about what you can do with it. One of the reasons I like this, two of the reasons I like this saw, I got it on sale for $99. It's got a fairly deep throat, and on the side it's got a power level that's a rotary spin lever, so you can do variable speeds, which I think is real important on this type of setup. Some saws have only one speed, some have two or three. This has got, you can kind of just turn the wheel to what you need, which comes into play if you're cutting different materials other than metal. Stand's easy to put together. This one, if you've seen videos, there's a gap right here. It talks about the plate sliding in there. My plate didn't do that, but it's held with two screws. I did have to take the foot that came with the saw off, attach it to this plate right here, which is held on by a screw underneath. It's secure. I set it up and it was square, so I didn't have to worry about that. I'm not going to tell you too much about the table or the construction. That's not what this video is about. I did buy the miter gauge, which is important because it will slide past the saw blade. If you buy one independently, it may not, from what I understand. This is important in precision cuts, which I'll talk about later. They offer a foot pedal, which is a pressure switch. Put your foot on it, it's on. Take your foot off, it's off, from what I understand. I didn't want to do that, so I picked up a Harbor Freight. I think it's $14, and it's a toggle. So you don't have to keep your foot on it. When I get more space, I'm probably going to mount it like this, and so I can actually use my knee to activate it. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the tool. I don't want it coming on and cut me up. Now, I've seen videos about putting the table together, about the bandsaw, a little bit about the miter, but in my opinion, not really what you can do with it. I've owned a big horizontal bandsaw. They're kind of limited in what they can do. They're big, but they mainly do straight cuts, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. I'm going to move the camera to get closer in and show you what type of cuts it can do. I'm not actually going to do the cuts. I've got examples. I don't want this video to go on all day. Okay, what this saw can do, because I can adjust the speed on my saw. I can do wood. I just turn the speed up, and I can do straight cuts. I can do angle cuts using the miter, but I usually kick the speed up when I do wood, turn it down when I do metal. What I mainly use it for is, this is bed frame material. This is one I started working on before I annealed it, which was a mistake. So I'll put this through the forge, soften it up, and then I will cut along the apex, the ridge, to get two pieces of blank material for knives. That's how I made this one. And it just saves me a lot of time, and using a angle grinder is a pain. I make my own micarta, however you pronounce it, and I use this to cut with it. I use this or a scroll saw, depending on what kind of handle it is, but this cuts really good. This is just angle iron, angle stock. This is the beginning of a business card holder. Now, because of the miter, I can do angle cuts. Actually easier on this than I could with my horizontal bandsaw. Gives me that ability. This next one's pretty cool. I want to get this in the camera. This is just an old piece of rebar. 90-degree cut. The lines match up or the ridges match up. I'm going to be using this to make some mason bee houses and some other structures. Now, what really surprised me about this and I really like is after I got this set up, I cut some of these planks. They're already cut out. They're already annealed. Okay. Now, if you cut this handle with a angle grinder, and if you've done that, you're making a bunch of cuts down to the line. It looks like a comb when you get done. Then you're scribing it with the edge of the grinder, breaking them off with a pair of pliers, and then grinding the crap out of this to get it smooth. You're probably using 2 cuts and then grinding the curve on that one. This one, using an angle grinder, I can get this somewhat cut. This I've got to use the method where you make it look like a comb by chopping a bunch of little grooves in it and then breaking them off. Same for the handle. Well, when I set this up, I was doing some experiments, and this one. As you can see, I cut that out with one cut. This one went this way. You can see where the lines match up. And then I ground down right in here. This handle. This way. I did that in one cut, 2 cuts here, then a little bit of angle grinding. See if I can get this one cut. Well, one cut for the main part of the handle, and this was 2 cuts and then a little bit of angle grinders. So this saves me a mountain of time just because I can do these angle cuts. Can't do large, or there's a limit to what this blade will bend around, but it makes it a whole lot easier than what I was doing with the angle grinder, and it gives me the ability to cut the amount of time that I'm using to cut material by a lot. Being able to cut that by mainly one large cut is just huge, not only in knives but in other applications. Again, mainly one large cut took all of this. This was done with one cut, and then I just sanded off the edges, ground off the edges. This was one cut. This was one cut, and then I smoothed it out. You can cut PVC, cut wood. This Brauer has the dial adjustment for the speed control, which I really like. The swag table didn't have instructions to put it together, but it's not that hard. I went ahead and bought this on the recommendation from another YouTube video, and I'm glad I did. When I put this together, I checked the blade and it's square. I didn't have to make any other adjustments. It's I'm going to mount it on a board to make it stable, but I've been using this and not had any problems with it. If you're going to do any precision cuts, buy the miter that Swag sells with this. It works, it clears the blade. I didn't want to mess with that. It's accurate. There's adjustments that you can use if you're a little bit off. So I'm going to recommend that you buy the miter. The foot switch, I didn't want to get a pressure switch because I don't want to have to stand there with my foot on it, so I went to Harbor Freight for that. Overall, this is changing the way I'm going to be able to make knives, all for the better. This is a setup that, you know, for the $100 that I paid on sale for the saw, and the table was, and the miter was over 200 bucks. These have gone up over the last year. They're worth it. I'm glad I bought it. It looks like a lot of money, but when you get it and see what you can do with it, it's worth the money. It has all these holes in it because it's for fitting a bunch of different saws. They don't get in the way. I don't have any problem with them. So don't worry about that. This right here is the knob screw that holds it to the table. Now I can take that off, remove the whole saw, and still use it as a portable. It's got this big foot on it, but it's not that much in the way really if you're going to need to use it. But this is a tool I think everybody should have in the garage. I mean, if you're a handyman, and whether it's with wood or whatever you're using, PVC, or it gives you the ability to use more than one material. I should have had this a long time ago, and I would recommend anybody that does work around the house, plumbing, fixing stuff, DIY, this is actually a really nice tool to have, and I would recommend putting it on your list of things to get, because it's really versatile. Now if you're going to use it for different materials, get one of the saws that have the speed control button on it, or you can change the speed, because like I said, when I do wood I speed it up. When I do metal, depending on the metal, I will slow the blade down, which gives me an advantage because I'm not going to wear the blade out as much. But I just wanted to show you what you can do with this saw, and it's just not for straight cuts. It's pretty versatile. I haven't seen a lot of videos out there that explain that, so hopefully this one will. But anyway, thanks for watching.